Yes. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum. If you want to watch this opening segment, it is available on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Veterans Minimum. It is Monday. It is President's Day. Shout out to all the ringleaders in the past of this wonderful nation. I've already pre-recorded this main segment that you guys are going to be listening to with the Twin Talk Yanks. Shout out to Chris and Nick. Had them on. Obviously, we did the player profile on Derek Jeter. For those of you guys that are members of the Patreon, you've already heard this 20 to 25-minute segment on whether or not baseball players should get $300 million contracts. And I understand how you are what someone is willing to pay for you. And by all means, if someone's going to toss me $300 million, even if I'm overrated, I'm signing that shit in a heartbeat. But with that said, we just take a look at whether or not these contracts are worthy both for player success, team success, the organization success, if it's worth giving out these kind of contracts. But I haven't had a chance to do a solo pod in a long time because I've been getting guests on for the most part and having people come in studio or doing remote locations. But there are two things I really want to talk about, and it's everything that's happened with the Houston Astros. And we do touch on it a little bit in this episode, but I wanted to just give my general thoughts on it because I don't know if I have made it clear yet. But my issue is that I'm in the camp that they clearly cheated. Everything tells you that that's the case. The lies are getting worse and worse. The excuses are getting worse and worse. I'm pulling up a tweet right now from Correa, and I believe Bleacher Report put it out, and I was just like, yo, fam, these are getting worse and worse. Carlos Correa says that Jose Altuve never cheated and that he didn't want his jersey removed after the walk-off because he got an unfinished tattoo on his collarbone that honestly looked terrible. Like, dude, these are getting worse and worse. Like, your stories are conflicting, right? That was not a dick pic, guys. I promise. It was just a screenshot. You'll see if you watch this video that I'm going to have in the video. But, dude, the excuses are getting worse and worse. None of your stories add up. That's why it's better for you not to lie, just in general. Because if you just tell the truth, it's easier for you to be able to go back and revisit it because you're not hiding anything. Right? Originally, it was Altuve's wife or girlfriend. I think he said his wife. They didn't want his body to show. And then it was the tattoo. And then it was they didn't want to ruin the jersey for the Hall of Fame or sending it to Cooperstown or whatever it was. It's just these things are not adding up. Also, when you look at the splits between how well the Astros batted at home as opposed to on the road, it's crazy. Altuve at home in the World Series batted .437, I think I saw. Or in that playoff run in 2017, batted .437. And then on the road, it was like .143. The splits are just ridiculous, right? It reminds me of the time when guys just went from 20 to 25 home run guys and hit 50. It's like, all right, he's probably shooting himself, right? He's putting something into his veins. So you're seeing more and more people come out and really take shots at the Houston Astros, and I can't blame them. Obviously, the Yankee fans are losing their mind, but you know what, Yankee fans, let's not make pretend as if your organization has been clean cut and no issues of cheating or scandals of yourselves, right? There was the Mueller report, had a bunch of Yankees on there, a bunch of Yankees that played pivotal roles in them winning World Series in 2009, and just the history of the Yankees too. They've had some guys that have had some quote-unquote red flags. So, but the outrage from the Yankee fans, I feel them. I feel them from Dodger fans. I feel them from Yankee fans. As an Astros fan, if I was an Astros fan, and I could tell you with the utmost confidence that if the Mets were to cheat to win a World Series, wouldn't care. Not one bit. because every kid growing up in Houston or any kid that grew up being an Astros fan, you're not going to be able to erase the memories of winning a game 5, then winning a game 7, and advancing to the World Series, and then the parade, and then winning the World Series, and just all that excitement that goes through seeing your team put a banner up in their stadium. That banner's not going to come down, though. If it did, it'd be very interesting. I think what they should do, what Major League Baseball should do, I'm in a couple of different camps here. If they decide to take away the World Series from them, and this is all just speculation and my thoughts, and chime in, let me know what you guys think at The Lamb Show, at Veterans Minimum. If they were to take the World Series away from them, I don't think they should give it to the Dodgers or to the Yankees. It should just be vacated, right? Just like the 2004 or 2005 Heisman Trophy that Reggie Bush won. If you go into the archives, everyone knows Reggie Bush won it, but technically it's not official. He's been stripped. It's vacated. There was no winner of the Heisman Trophy that year with Reggie Bush. It's just, you've seen it where teams get wins removed from them in college football or college sports because of a scandal that a coach might have had or players being paid illegally to be brought in, which brings me to this next point, which is what I think should happen to the Houston Astros. And you hear me mention this with the Twins, the Twin Talk Yanks, how, 5-year ban. That might be excessive, but 3-year ban from the playoffs. No matter what, you play your games and they're meaningless games. It's going to hurt your franchise financially. It's going to hurt your players legacy-wise and financially as well. You're not going to be able to bring in free agents because free agents are not going to want to go play in Houston because they won't have a chance to compete for the World Series. You're going to lose guys because they're not going to want to stay there and play 162 games just to not make the playoffs. And you've already shipped them a first and second round picks in the draft. I will continue to do so for the next 3 years. I would hit them with a much bigger penalty financially. They lost $5 million. I would follow exactly what happened to Manchester City. Now, this isn't a soccer segment. This is a why the Astros need the Man City punishment segment. For those of you that might not know, if you're not familiar with soccer, there's this thing called the UEFA Champions League. The UEFA Champions League is the most prestigious soccer, club soccer, trophy, and tournament in all of soccer. It's bigger than the FA Cup. It's bigger than any league that you're in. It's bigger than any country league that you're in. Copa del Rey, the FA Cup, the League One Cup, all that stuff. It's bigger. Copa Italia. It's bigger than all of those. The Champions League is a collection of the best teams in Europe being put into groups and knockout stages, and it runs from September to Memorial Day weekend as the final. The cream of the crop, the elite of the elite, these teams like Liverpool, like Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Juventus, PSG, Man City, these are teams that they get put into the Champions League, and that is the granddaddy of them all. That is the WrestleMania of soccer tournaments. It's the most prestigious one. If you win the Champions League, it is quite the accomplishment, because you got to remember, when you play Champions League, you're playing games in the middle of the week as well as games on either ends of the weekend for your league. So when you look at something like what Liverpool did last year, they won the Champions League while competing for a chance to win the English Premier League throughout. So you're playing 3 meaningful 90-minute games throughout a week, and that could be very stressful on the human body and the body of the athletes, and also mentally what the toll it takes on them. But last week, towards the tail end of the week, UEFA came down with a big punishment. Manchester City has been banned from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons after being found guilty of breaching financial fair play rules UEFA has announced. A 2-year ban from the Champions League, meaning Man City could win the Premier League, which they're not this year because they're about 15-plus points behind Liverpool. But in the Premier League, if you finish top 4, you get an automatic bid into the group stages. And then I believe there's a knockout. There's a qualifier for the 5th best team. We'll let Alex from VMFC, he got something planned for this. He'll be able to touch on this a little bit more. But for the most part, if you win your league, or if you finish top 2, top 3, you get a bid into the Champions League. Okay, so they're banned from that. They're not allowed to compete in that. And they're also hit with a 30 million euro penalty. They are fined 30 million euros. So let's compare it to what the Astros did, right? The Astros got caught cheating. Everything points to them being caught. They got immunity. Congrats. That does nothing. And everyone in the league doesn't respect them. Everyone hates them. And rightfully so, especially if you are a Yankee fan or a Dodger fan who got scarred by this team, who took away a chance for you to win a championship. Dude, it's hard to win a championship. And if you have to cheat to get one, and it's unfortunate because a lot of these Astro players are good as fuck, man. And they had a chance to win one without it, you know? But then it goes back to what Alex Rodriguez said, how he took PEDs because he wanted to exceed expectations after signing a 10-year, $250+ million contract. So let me explain it to you guys in terms of the NBA for you guys to understand. Like, yo, Lamb, what the hell is breaching financial fair play rules? So imagine in the NBA, imagine in the NFL, imagine in hockey, right? Say they manage to re-sign all of their stars. Let's use the 76ers, for example. Last year, the 76ers, they end the year. They lose to Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors on that triple, quadruple bounce, right? But they have Jimmy Butler, they have Tobias Harris, they have Ben Simmons, they have Embiid, they have JJ Redick, they have all these guys. Imagine they're able to sign all of these players, all their all-stars, while staying under the salary cap, which would be impossible because those guys will probably take up your whole cap, and then you'd have to get 8 guys on the VM. Oh, thank you. So they sign all their all-stars while staying under the cap, but then are found to have privately paid some of these players off via the owner's money to remain under the salary cap. So imagine that it turned out that, yeah, the 76ers re-signed Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris and JJ Redick, and they brought in Josh Richardson, which I understand that they made the trade for him, but just bear with me here. And they're all making $25 million against the cap. But then it turns out that the owner of the Sixers is just going underneath the table and is like, yo, here's 10 mil. Here's 20 mil. All right, even though your cap hit is 18 million, here's the other 20 to make you a $38 million player. It's frowned upon. You're not allowed to do it. So that's what happened to Man City. Manchester City is going to have a hard time trying to sign players from other teams around the world that want to come play for Man City, because one of the big appeals while you go to a team like Manchester City, Juventus, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich is because of the appeal of playing in the Champions League. It is the biggest tournament in the world for club soccer. And when you take that away from them, hit them where it hurts, that's what's going to happen. So I think if you're Major League Baseball, the only thing you could do, and I think Rob Manfred dropped the ball on this one, what Adam Silver did, man. Adam Silver came out with the Donald Sterling stuff when he came out with super racist comments. He was just like, yo, fam, it's a wrap. You're out. Done. Lifetime ban. And Adam Silver, since then, no matter what he does, he's held to a certain standard and appreciation by his players, by his owners, and by the media. And baseball right now is in a rough spot with this scandal. So I do think it's a good thing for baseball, though, because this is the first time ever that I can think of. Mind you, casual baseball fan, big Met fan, but casual baseball fan. I'm very intrigued for this season because you have a villain. You have a villain in the Houston Astros. You have a team that nobody fucks with, and you have a team that everybody is talking shit about. And, like, open, right? Just open. Trevor Bauer, he put out a crazy video, which I feel him on. Mike Trout said, I lost respect for those guys. Bellinger came out and said, yo, they stole an MVP from Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge took down a picture that he had of Altuve on his Instagram, which you know If you take something down from your Instagram or you unfollow somebody, it is a wrap for that person. You broke up with them. So Aaron Judge congratulated him in 2017. Hats off, great player, phenomenal year to Jose Altuve. Well, he took down that post. So Aaron Judge isn't happy because now Aaron Judge, when he hits free agency, and obviously, look, he's still going to get a $350 million contract when his time is up and he's a free agent and he could sign. But when you look at the resume, Hall of Fame credentials and whatnot, later down the line, it would have been nice to see 2017 MVP as opposed to just the AL Rookie of the Year. So those are my thoughts. If I'm baseball, I'm hitting them where it hurts. And it's not just the pockets. It's the players having a chance to win and to make a name for themselves in baseball lore.